It's a Saturday night showdown in the USL Championship. Tonight's broadcast is presented by Baptist Health, and it's the top two teams in the East, Lou City and Tampa Bay, in front of what should be a record-breaking crowd tonight. First place is on the line as these two teams clash this evening. What gives between teams that have been the class of the Eastern Conference over the last 5 years? With Devin Kerr, I'm Michael Watchring. And Devin, these two teams have been insanely good of late. Championships are normally won in these matchups.
Lou City enters the league in 2015, 7 straight Eastern Conference finals. The Tampa Bay Rowdies come in 17. They've won back-to-back. The last 5 winners have come from one of these two teams. But I look at the metrics overall within the Eastern Conference and how it compares to the rest of the boys below them, because that's what it is. It's Lou City, the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and then everybody else. The only team that can have a singularity of a say, it's in clean sheets and a goals against average for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Otherwise, the 1-2 punch that is Lou City and the Tampa Bay Rowdies reigns supreme. But I look at the 7-match winning streak and 13 games unbeaten for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. They've been magnificent. They've changed the lineup a little bit. There's a versatility within the ranks that we did not see on the way to the Eastern Conference title in 20 or 21. They have the best away record in the East, second best in the USL Championship. Lest we forget, Lou City's pretty good at home in themselves. Third in the East, second overall in the league.
Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup presented by Craft House Pizza. And for Lou City, one real big change, and that's on the top line.
It's going to start with Ray Serrano for sure, and we'll get to him in a minute. But I still look at the back line, Manny Perez and Amadou Dia. How high are they going to go here? Because of the front three that you're going to get out of Lacava, Dos Santos, or Fernandez, you've got to make sure that you're very careful in your ways, that the balance remains on the back line. McCabe and Gonzalez can supplement the attack going forward. But with Brian Ownby moving into the 9, that puts an emphasis on possession for Ray Serrano on that right-hand flank. He'll drop in, he'll help out the midfield trio, but specifically the matchup that he's going to have against Lacava, Sebastian Dalgard, and Aaron Guillen on that left-hand side, he is going to have to be a supreme being on the right flank for Lou City to have success tonight. It's a big ask for a young man.
The 20-year-old is tonight's Commonwealth Credit Union player profile as we take a look at the starting 11 for Tampa Bay, presented by Craft House Pizza. How did Neil Collins answer questions in his starting 11 with a couple players out?
He had to figure out with Van Kiesel gone, Jake Arman still unavailable to injury as well, and Lawrence Wyken now suspended. What do? You bring in the speedy Dayon Harris. You've got the balance and Dalgard on the outside. They'll flatten out the back three. We'll talk about more of that in-game. Nicky Law and his veteran leadership comes next to Lewis Hilton. Hilton will tuck underneath. That front three, Dos Santos, Fernandez, Lacava, 3 of the best in the business. Remember, they're not just chasing number 1 in the East. A win tonight, and you are chasing down the number 1 seed champion.
11th, and the top 2 teams in the East are ready to kick it off. No more talking. Game on when we come back.
Keep going. Keep working. Keep climbing. And always keep playing. With the unmatched orthopedic care at Baptist Health. With a best-in-class team, along with services and procedures you won't find anywhere else in the region. It's no wonder most people choose us to help them keep moving and doing the things that move them. Find a Baptist Health provider today.
So as someone that's loved meteorology my whole life, it's basically I've always been interested in the kind of look up part of Earth and what surrounds it. I was a storm chaser many years ago in college. Unbelievable! I love scuba diving, and then it got to the point where I, took the leap and jumped into astrophotography. Now, what's the kind of constant in there? It's a camera. I feel like it's that creative outlet for me. I think that's the craziest thing about this hobby is you just are constantly blown away. Everything you target, but there's really fulfilling when you get done and you see this thing that's sitting in space or another galaxy that has 1 billion stars in it. I find weather in particular so incredibly fascinating. And I love that every night that I can kind of share a little bit about what I love.
After being cooped up all spring, it's time to get outside and enjoy the summer of now. With With amazing rates, Adventure Loans from Commonwealth Credit Union let you hit the road, or no road at all, with UTVs, ATVs, and motorcycles, and our recreational loans for boats, motorhomes, and campers. This year, make the most of every day and stay cool for the summer with Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
With a new Toyota, you can practically make summer stand still. From making a splash in a Highlander to fitting in more fun in a Camry or tackling a trailhead in a RAV4 hybrid. Who's a good boy? Enjoy the last of summer in an exciting new Toyota during Toyota's national sales event.
Save big on the best-selling SUV Toyota RAV4, like this electrified RAV4 hybrid with fuel savings over $3,700. Save even more with 1.9 APR financing.
Come in today.
Toyota, let's go places.
Just about ready for kickoff. Tampa Bay and Lou City getting ready to kick off here this evening. Let's take a look at tonight's weather report presented by Advanced ENT and Allergy. 83 degrees, partly cloudy, a humid night in Louisville. And the fans getting fired up by Jack Harlow here for this matchup. It is Phil the Fam night, expecting a record-breaking crowd this evening. And why not for this matchup, as it is Louisville City FC, a team that is unbeaten over its last 8, and a Tampa Bay Rowdies crew that has won 7 in a row. Natalie Simon is our official, and here we go between the top 2 teams in the East. I'm Michael Watring with Devin Kerr and our entire crew. Come in, stay a while. This should be a delightful matchup. This is Louisville in the black uniforms, Tampa Bay in the green. And one note to pass along, Niall McCabe was injured in pregame warmups. He is out of the 11, and Corbin Bone gets put in to the starting 11 for this matchup. Here's LaCava. Pushed into the box, and Kyle Morton plucks it out of the air. These two teams are amongst the 2 best goal-scoring teams in the league and best defensive teams. As you take a look at Bone, the 33-year-old from Plano, Texas, he'll be sporting the captain's armband for this contest tonight with McCabe out.
We'd argue the silver lining throughout that argument is going to be the fact that Corbin Bone does add an extra dimension and layer to this attack for Louisville City. Now McCabe, an ever steady man for himself within the midfield 3 as well, but is more prone to dropping back to help out Tyler Gibson, create more of that double pivot. Ray Serrano on the inversion that we've talked about within the lineup. Still going to have to be very keen as to where these secondary runs are coming from. Does get a bit more help though with Corbin Bone coming into the mix. Interesting to note that it does not affect the overall substitutions because it's made as an injury before the lineup. It doesn't affect the 3 windows that we talk about. It does, however, remove a player from the mix. So it's not an 18-man, it's down to 17, but no subs counted towards Lou City.
How much does it affect the game plan, if at all, that Niall McCabe isn't able to go tonight?
It's not a massive effect in the sense that the veteran leadership is still there from Corbin Bone. We'll say that we haven't seen Corbin Bone in the 11 regularly for quite some time, so a last-minute change like that, sometimes for players it can rattle them. But for a guy that's experienced so much for such an elongated period of time on so many different levels, I don't see it being an issue at all for Corbin Bone. I almost embrace the idea because of the fact he does give you an extra option moving forward.
Lou City will have 6 players on the bench, including 1 goalkeeper for this matchup. And of course, Tampa Bay a little short-handed as well. 2 injuries and a suspension to Lawrence Wyke. First meeting this season, Tampa Bay won at home 1-0. Leo Fernandez was issued a PK and he put it away. This ball into the box, and it does get deflected away. Connor Antley, the first one to it. But we'll have our first corner of the night here in the 4th minute. It's a Wi-Fi corner. Ball hooked low into the box, doesn't get a redirect. And Tampa Bay will take it out. Tampa Bay opened the season 3-3-4, sat in 7th place. And then turned on the Jets. A 7-match winning streak. The next victory, as you take a look at Neil Collins, would match Orlando City for the 5th longest in USL Championship history. While the next draw or win, if they can pull that out of this match, would be a new club record with 14 consecutive unbeaten contests. Here's a nice ball for Jorge Gonzalez. That ball hits the flag and eventually does go out. Antley once more, the last one to touch it, and here's a corner on the opposite side of the field.
Little cue ball corner pocket action going on early. Bump off the rim. You play pool, Michael?
I do, not well, but I do play.
Okay, you're a snooker guy. I could tell the minute you walked in the building, that's more your speed.
You could see that with the outfit that I had on. Ray Serrano in swinging, low ball. Leo Fernandez clears only as far as Amadou Dia. Well, while Tampa Bay has had to work its way up the table, Lou City has been steady much of the season. The best goal differential in the league at +31.
I briefly added something in the open, Michael, about the matchup between these two, specifically what it means throughout the league, because everybody's looking at the Eastern Conference, rightfully so. You know, coming in, Lou City, #1, Tampa Bay Rowdies, #2, just 1 point behind.
Ownby gives chase, and he'll be called for the foul as Aaron Guillen gets taken out.
I would be very careful not to forget the bigger picture in the grand scheme of things, and the fact that San Antonio on their quote-unquote downslide recently. Now they're 3-1-1 in their last 5, but only 1 win in their last 3. San Diego Loyal on a tear with them as well. So the gap that was between everybody else and San Antonio, you were looking at 8 points at one point in time for the #1 seed, has now shortened to 4 between 4 different teams.
Serrano wide left and nearly an instant impact.
You just got to be careful. A little narrow within the run here for Ray Serrano. It's why he's trying to cut this thing back across his body. Notice how he has to drift out on the back end of this thing. If this is Brian Ownby and Wilson Harris is in the center spot, he's going to hit Brian Ownby directly on the diagonal in the run. Instead, Serrano, because of that possession base that I talk about, trying to drift in and help out, he's got to restrict his run, come back to the outside, then adjust, bring it back across his body, and that's why he pulls it wide.
Serrano, just 20 years of age, began his career in the Pacific Northwest. Tacoma Defiance for a few years, and now his 10th appearance with Lou City. A couple goals on the season. Flag will stay down here. LaCava. Dahlgaard. Good poking and prodding, but Leo Fernandez the scorching hot striker. Low ball in, and it is a goal kick, last touched by Tampa Bay. Fernandez, career appearance number 150 tonight. He scored in 9 of his last 12.
You hear the shouts coming from the sideline, and Neil Collins, and he's talking about the shape and the speed at which he's trying to get his team to play for. Leo Fernandez just adds a different level to this team. Rowdies fans have been so accustomed to seeing him out at that left wing spot, more of an attacking midfielder on the left side as opposed to the wingback style position that you temporarily see within some of these 3-4-3s. And the versatility that I talked about coming in. You know, last time out, Aaron Guillen playing a higher line because of the comfort and ability within Jordan Scarlett, Connor Antley, Lawrence White, the ability to shapeshift, play multiple positions. It allows guys like Leo Fernandez to push higher and play as really their 2-10s. He and Jay LaCava are two of my favorite tandems to watch within this league because of the way that they work off of each other. They can be the lone attacking midfielder working in front of guys like Nicky Law and Lewis Hilton, who's so good at distributing. The question was, could you find a way to get one of the 9s going? Seven Gonzalez not even available within the 18 tonight. That's another talking point for later on. Dos Santos had struggled early on. He's hit it running, as you mentioned. And now you finally have this triumvirate, which Lou City knows that terminology and have become all too familiar with, running downhill every single game. Multiple goals left and right, extremely dangerous.
Fernandez had never scored double-digit goals, and now at age 30, he has 12. There's Lou City pushing forward. Mushagalusa skies this into the seats. 10 minutes in, good back and forth action between Louisville City FC and Tampa Bay. Commonwealth Credit Union has been bettering lives in the communities they serve since 1951. To learn more, visit WeSeeYouDifferently.com. Very good passing around the field, but eventually turns into a turnover. Perez, I think he was thinking about Ownby. Serrano was in the neighborhood as well. Once again, a giveaway. This time it is Ownby. Mushagalusa once more. Ownby splitting one defender. Can't get past the second as it goes out for a goal kick. Louisville City has been in fine form. 7 wins in the last 8. How about that bottom line, though? Trailing for just 10 total minutes during the unbeaten streak.
I think people understand when we're getting ready for these games, the rabbit holes that all of us announcers go down. I was shocked when you produced that one. Excellent work, by the way. So don't ever say that I don't praise you in front of our peers.
I'm clipping that and saving that.
But that is a heck of a stat. 10 minutes the entire time is the amount that they've trailed. I mean, it's one thing to talk about this team historically and how, you know, the opening 15, 20 minutes, they just go, they find a goal, they get out in front and stay out in front. But 10 minutes over that span, that's truly astonishing.
Well, what's amazing about it, too, is it happened against Charleston, give up the early goal. 4 minutes later, they responded, ended up winning 4-1. And we all remember that crazy matchup with Memphis, conceded 6 minutes later, tied it, and then in the very late portions of that one ended up winning 2-1. So even if they get scored on, which has been very infrequent, just 4 goals allowed in the last 8, they have a quick response more often than not.
Don't poke the sleeping bear.
Mushagalusa once more. And he's hit a couple balls a little harder than he'd like. Ownby pointing out where he wants the ball.
They got to have a conversation, the Rowdies, right now, with symbiotic relationship. LaCava, Fernandez helping out defensively, dropping down in and clogging some of these passing lanes, because right now that little pinch underneath, just underneath the referee, that's Lewis Hilton, left side of your screen. As he comes under, Nicky Law's jumping up a little bit. That's to no surprise. It is a tendency that the Rowdies have within the midfield duo. The problem is as he comes, it starts to open up a bit more space on the right side of that midfield. You've got to have someone pinch. That's on Dayon Harris to come a little bit. You don't want that regularly, though. He's got to maintain presence on the outside. So you're expecting Fernandez or LaCava to clog that off. They haven't been able to do so. Lou City comfortable centrally over the past couple of minutes.
Here's a foul whistled. Dos Santos gives it up. Well, this matchup does provide an interesting dynamic overall, because neither team is used to A, being behind, and B, certainly losing. Ownby the target. Serrano. Perez. Good shimmy from Perez. Eventually gives it away, and Dos Santos very far from where he's potent. This portion of tonight's match is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. We hit the quarter-hour mark here at Lynn Family Stadium. Joined by Devin Kerr, I'm Michael Watring, our entire crew. Elated to have you along for the ride tonight. Two of the hottest teams in the USL Championship. 7 straight wins for Tampa Bay. Been 57 days since the last time they didn't win. 106 since the last time they lost. Mushagalusa with pace. Has Serrano waiting. Ownby as well. Instead, Mushagalusa gets to the touchline. Very well defended.
Good break for Lou City. Sorry about that, Michael. It's a great break for Lou City, but the run's off again. When they're entering into the final third right now, they're just struggling with some of their decisions. Mushagalusa, as he breaks. Serrano should have continued his run back across the top of the 18. Instead, he stutters, then speeds up, then Brian Ownby drops back off. The presence that you had on the near post is gone. The back post run is too late. The tit for tat needs to be quicker. That could have been a much better look at goal instead of what they came away with.
A Wi-Fi corner from Serrano. Finds a Tampa head first. Ownby flies it in. All there is over there is Mushagalusa. Amadou Dia. And good defending there. Serrano. Perez brings it down. There have been some spaces on the outer channels.
This is better, though. This is a much better setup for the Rowdies. Look just underneath. They flatten it out. Steven Dos Santos, excellent work on the inside. He's coming a little bit deeper, but he's removing that initial ball to the interior, keeping everything on the outside, making you challenge the flanks instead of right down the middle.
Ownby! Ownby! Maybe a little heavy on that last touch there as Tampa clears. There are 4 teams in the championship that rank in the top 6 in goals scored and goals conceded. 2 of the 4 are in this match. Ownby thinking. Ownby flies. He's looking for Serrano. And it goes out, and 0-0 in the 19th minute. It's a Tampa side led by Neil Collins that have won 11 of the last 13, drawn the other 2. Elite scoring last year, of course, had that huge stretch, nearly 900 minutes without conceding. Been a little bit different with this year's stretch, but the goal scoring has been off the charts for the Rowdies.
Scored in 21 out of 23 games. That's best in the USL Championship. It's pretty interesting listening to Neil Collins discuss that streak last year. Set the North American shutout record, besting the Dynamo of the mid-2000s, 800+ minutes without a goal given up. And what it looked like, where they've certainly conceded more this season throughout this unbeaten and winless streak, but they've scored a lot more too. They're more dynamic in the front, and that's pretty impressive to say considering the season that was last year for Sebastian Guenzati. 22 goals and 6 assists over 36 games overall, and that's just one. Steven Dos Santos added 12 himself, but the dynamic is much different. Talked about what the relationship was like for Jake LaCava and Leo Fernandez defensively, but how about moving forward? There's a denseness about them that enables them to just be much more dangerous than we saw last season.
Here's a touch and a low shot. It goes wide. Gonzalez was running onto it.
There's a little deflection on the backside of this, and just like the volume that's produced on the front 3 for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, Blue City no slouch themselves either. It's a good look by Jorge Gonzalez. There's one of those runs that I was talking about, Michael. Notice how he just jumps out of the midfield. It's a little bit late, but it's still as dynamic. You pop out, the back line starts to commit to the runs coming at them. You have to be really careful for the secondary ones. That tends to be the bread and butter for Lou City.
Serrano bends it back, and it gets headed away. Lou City will reset. Long switch of fields. Well, you're mentioning about the goal scoring prowess. Well, think about a team in Tampa that Guenzati scored 1 time. He scored 51 total in the last 3 years. And Dos Santos had 1 up until a month ago. And after all that, they're still sitting there 1 point shy of first, and an opportunity tonight to seize the top slot in the East.
He expanded upon that too, and getting everybody going about, you know, we just got to find a way to win 4. Win 4 in a row at some point in time.
Here's a ball into the box. Dangerous from Nicky Law. Lou City does handle it though.
At some point in time, to be a title winner, everybody's got to win 4. Now the playoff format has changed a little bit, so maybe you only need to win 3 this year if you grab the 1 seed and you get the bye first round. Quite a few teams are in that argument this season that have done it so far. Louisville City, Tampa Bay Rowdies, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, to name a few. 6 teams in the Eastern Conference overall. A bunch of boys in the West have done it. San Diego Loyal on a nice run of their own, trying to chase down San Antonio FC. But he talked about, look, it's not exactly why or how, but when. Sloppy again coming off the back line. He just wants to make sure that he's got some sort of positive play come the end of the season. I'm pretty sure they've accomplished that.
LaCava slaloming through 2 defenders. Ownby. He's been in fine form this year. Serrano. Ownby once more. Brumby. Waits for Perez. Perez flies it low. Was looking for the return pass instead. It's ricocheted back out. 3 shots to 0 in favor of Lou City. Here in the 24th minute, no shots on target for the home side. Musha Galus has been dangerous. Hasn't had the correct pass yet as it goes out for a 5-5 corner.
It's still another ill-timed run on the right-hand side. It's good ball movement by Lou City, but Ray Serrano is late to react, and because of it, they just settle for this half a chance. Ball gets whipped out to the right-hand side. Manny Perez steps up into it. You whip it back across, try and find another avenue to go through. They got to find a way from a communication standpoint to get these guys on the same page, because they're throwing a lot of opportunities by the wayside.
Serrano, back post. Gonzalez cannot win it. Tampa's done very well handling the initial ball off of the corner so far, having faced 5.
Their setup overall is just so much better than the opening 10 minutes. And, you know, you run words through your head on how to describe it. To me, it's just awesome. It's great to watch, man. This team, and I understand that we talked about the unbeaten streak and the goals that they've been able to score, but it's still, to me, from a tactical standpoint, my favorite team to watch set up on the defensive side of the ball. Neil Collins is the best in the business. I have no problem saying that, at getting his team organized, recognizing where the threats are coming from, where the mistakes are being made, how they need to adjust. He started early. There was too much separation within the front 3. The change was off. They bring them more to the inside. They're able to flatten themselves out now. You got to maintain your width. He's just trying to find a way to supplement it going the other direction, and they'll be right back in this thing.
Rare build up here for Tampa. Haven't had a lot of possession on this side of the field. In fact, overall possessions nearly 70-30 at this point in favor of Louisville City. Don't miss your opportunity to cheer on the boys in purple at Lynn Family Stadium this season. Louisville City single game tickets are on sale now at loucity.com/tickets.
If you could pick out one area, they could start to find another direction to attack through. It's got to be through the spine of this Lou City team. Good job by Dalgard and Hayon Harris. Haven't been given a lot of opportunities, but they are maintaining themselves just in front of Aaron Gann and Jordan Scarlett. They've locked that spot down as Lou City comes forward, kept the game in front of them, and they're showing themselves moving the other direction. That ball right there, that's the ball that needs to happen more. The up, down, in to allow you to be more expansive in the attack going forward. Neil Collins is upset, and I don't blame him, because the run's got to be held by Jake LaCava. But that's the movement we want to show. It's the long ball up over the top into Dos Santos, the hold-up play. It's going to make Tyler Gibson underneath. You'll pull Corbin Bone and Jorge Gonzalez a little bit deeper. More importantly, you make Wes Sharpie and Sean Tosh be very careful as to where they're going to commit, because Dos Santos can turn you on a dime, spin you, and then he's one-on-one with the center back. If they commit and stay home and allow the midfielders to do it, well, now you're going to open up more space down on the wings, because the guys are going to be focused on the ball in the interior. That's where you're expecting a Jake LaCava or Fernandez or two of the outside wingbacks to get involved in the attack. All right, we're going to flip the script tonight, Michael. We're going to talk a little bit about trivia.
Okay.
Tonight's trivia is brought to you by Tony's Brake and Alignment. These teams have played each other 10 previous times coming in. The Rowdies on a 3-game win streak. Hold on to that.
Advantage played and then called. And there'll be a free kick coming here for Tampa Bay.
How many scoreless games have there been between those 10?
Yellow card coming here to Tyler Gibson, brought to you by World of Beer.
And a couple of giveaways coming off the back lines for both of these teams. Tyler Gibson, poor first touch. Wants to get away from him. You wonder what the shout was from Kyle Morton as to where the pressure was coming from, and enter Sandman, Lewis Hilton, and the brilliant right peg that is. This is perfect distance for the Englishman. He's hit some worldies from this distance. Not to be denied by either the left foot of Leo Fernandez. Sometimes Jake LaCava can add his name into the mix. This is one of the most difficult spots for a goalkeeper because of its central location. You can pull it either way. If I'm them, by the way, I want the referee to walk this off because that wall is not 10 yards apart. There you go. Back them up. Absolutely. I want you to take every single step in front of all 13,000 plus to show me 10 yards. These guys can get it up and down so fast. Kyle Morton, 5 on the wall at least, because you know this thing is coming direct.
Natalie Simon using a little bit more of the aerosol. 31st minute. Who will it be, Hilton or Fernandez? Hilton hits it high.
It just gets underneath it. Lewis Hilton, he's so good about getting enough spin on this thing. He brings it back across, but you notice his body positioning underneath it, just leaning back a touch. You walk such a fine line in those situations, Michael, of finding a way to get your hips back across the ball, put enough power on it, and stay over it, while still finding enough lift to get it up over the wall.
There's another foul whistle. Fans will have their say. Amadou Dia draws the whistle. Natalie Simon.
I'm not really sure where the argument's coming from Danny Cruz on the sideline. It's a foul. It's not even close. Problem is, it was coming off another 50-50 just behind for Amadou Dia, so he's slow to react, and I don't blame him.
Kyle Morton waits on it and picks it up. 32nd minute, Tampa Bay and Louisville City knotted at 0. I'm Michael Watring with Devin Kerr and our whole crew watching this one with you. These are the top 2 teams in the East, teams that have not lost in a long time. 8 unbeaten for Louisville City, 13 for Tampa. Serrano does very well to get past one. And it will be a corner, the 6th of the night for Louisville City, brought to you by Wi-Fi. Amazing atmosphere here. Serrano strikes it. Once again, cannot link up. This has been part of the tale here in the opening half. A lot of possession for Louisville. It's a nice run by Gonzalez. He's made a couple of those deceptive runs to the top of the box. This time it gets blocked. Tampa has been a counter-attacking team. The passing just hasn't quite been there as frequently.
Watch this overload, though. They've brought Mushagaloose over to the right-hand side right now, underneath Ray Serrano. He was part of the build-up on the last movement coming forward. Leaves him a little exposed on the distribution coming off the right side for the Rowdies.
Here's the ball.
Does enable another attacking player on this right-hand side. Another black jersey. It's on the far post right now. Problem is it congests the area, and you take away one of your biggest assets out of Mushagaloose and all the speed that he possesses.
Mushagaloose. It's a dummy. Played right back. Corbin Bone nearly got it back. That was almost flawless. Tyler Gibson. A lot of black jerseys forward. Mushagaloose. Cochran falls on top of it.
All right, let's go back. How many, Michael? Any guesses? 0?
I'm going 0.
You're going 0. You have 0 clue as to what the answer is. It's 3, believe it or not. Only 3 times in the previous 10 meetings has it gone scoreless. 2 of the first 3. A 1-0 for Louisville, a 2-0 for the Rowdies. And then not until the last time out earlier this season, the 1-0 victory that was the matchup earlier this year. Otherwise, it's been multi-goals galore.
A large run here from LaCava. Shot gets blocked though, and then a second try from Hilton goes out.
Watch Wes Sharpie on the tail end of this play. Keeping the play in front of you. At some point in time, you're going to have to deal with this. It's just a matter of when and where it occurs. Because of Jake LaCava and the prowess that is one-on-one, it's a good cutback to the inside, but it's Wes Sharpie on the back end, the center back. He's the one the deflection comes off of. He's also the player that immediately steps up into the space that applies the pressure to Lewis Hilton. Footsteps or not, love to see the maneuver by Wes Sharpie on the back line for Lou City.
Baptist Health is the proud partner and exclusive provider of medical support and athletic training services to Louisville City FC and Racing Louisville. Visit baptisthealth.com/ortho to learn more. Kyle Morton, second in the USL Championship in clean sheets. 29 for his career. Each keeper enters tonight with 29 clean sheets. Which one gets to 31st? Serrano waits. How would you sum up what we've seen through the first 38 minutes of this matchup?
Pretty predictable in my opinion because of the facts that support that opinion. Right, both of these teams have given you a couple of looks, nothing great moving forward. They've also showcased as to why they're 2 of the better defensive units in the entire league. The structure is there every single season, and if there is a mistake, it's a very small one, and that window closes rapidly, and that's what we've seen. So when Jake LaCava made that run about 2.5 minutes ago, even though he cuts back to the inside,
Cochran had to get that right as he comes out.
even though he cuts back to the inside and makes that initial move to open up the space, he's still got Sean Toast and Wes Sharpie that immediately close it down. So what you think is going to be a one-on-one breaking into the box instead turns to a strike from right around 20 yards out, and then a half chance from Lewis Hilton for 30. It's the same thing on the opposite end. I will say that the decision-making less affected by the Rowdies. They've been better in their overall decision-making moving forward. The difference is they haven't had as many opportunities. Lou City have had a plethora of chances when they're moving left to right. Their problem does come down to the mental fortitude or lack thereof. It seems like every single time they do all the hard work and get through, the run is wrong or the decision is poor. Serrano is too cut to the inside. That's happened 4 times in this first half, where because of the fact that he's trying to combine with the midfield boys, he's too restricted in his movement. Yet there's no overlapping run from Manny Perez. That's fine if you're not going to send him, but then you have no presence on that right-hand side. When Mushagalusa gets to the byline, the run by Ownby isn't to the near post. Instead, he delays it, and they don't recognize the secondary run. And so the back and forth has been quite interesting. Not surprised it's at 0-0 at this point, though.
Will there be a goal here in the first half? Low ball in, and it ends up all the way through. Back line of the black jerseys. It's been a lot of sustained possession for Tampa Bay in the attacking third. Nearly a 3-to-1 discrepancy between passes in the final third in favor of Louisville City. They've controlled the possession. They've controlled a good chunk of the attacking as well. But Tampa has started to regain some of that form here in the last 10 minutes that has produced 34 goals during this 13-match unbeaten string. Connor Rantley called for a foul.
Bet you can't read those lips. Bet you won't say it out loud. You see the back and forth between he and his twin brother, Ian Emily, on the Rowdy social media page?
I did not.
It was a good one. You should go check it out if you get a chance. They talked about what it was like growing up in their household. Were they competitive? I especially like the bit about how they get all these questions they've regularly been asked throughout their youth and young adult lives. One of which was, have you ever switched places? I've always wanted to be a twin to do that. They have in fact done it, by the way. They said it was back in middle school. They changed classes and experienced different teachers, and then they switched back. Mostly it was because their friends dared them to do it, but I did it with one of my friends. We just didn't look anything alike, so it didn't work out as well.
LaCava. No foul whistled. A clean win for Louisville City. Overload on the left. Ownby. And another corner kick coming up. And all of the Tampa Bay players looking at Natalie Simon, asking for a foul at the other end of the field.
It's another 5-5 corner kick.
This is already the 7th corner coming up here for Lou City. None for Tampa Bay thus far. Haven't been all that dangerous for the home group. Serrano looking to change that. All the way to the back post. Perez the target. Gets cleared out.
Michael, through all of that, though, we're 43 minutes into this game. Blue City haven't hit the target yet. You can say whatever you want about having the ball, having more opportunities, but what are you going to do with it? The quality of chances have evaded the home squad here tonight because of the inability to mentally lock yourself in at the right point in time.
Serrano again. Flies this in. I think he was looking for Ownby, and once more the pass eludes Lou City. Well, you're talking about that attacking prowess. You're talking about the lack of ability to put something on target. We asked Danny Cruz this week, who's the most important piece to a win over Tampa? He said it's Brian Ownby. Has to play well on defense and the attack. And it's been a challenge for Lou City to get him the ball in dangerous spots. It's nifty passing until it is cleared away. Ownby on cue. It's another good run from Serrano. And wins the race, however.
And Michael, you know what? At some point in time, Danny Cruz is going to have a field day at halftime, and I would not want to be a fly on the wall in this locker room. Watch the space that opens up here and the good pressure by Brian Ownby. There's the touch. Play it. Play it right now. Instead, a second pass. Great step up by Aaron Guillen. That is the story right there as the referee blows the whistle for halftime of Louisville City and their ineptness moving forward in the first 45 minutes. Defensively, it was a slow start for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. They worked their way back in. They are doing just fine when they have to move towards the negative side of the ball. But the composure moving forward, they got to find Steven Dos Santos, and they've got to find a way to get Dalgard and Harris in more advanced roles as they move forward in attack.
There's a lot of buildup to the matchup between the top two teams in the East, but neither side has a shot on target so far. Halftime, 0-0, Lou City and Tampa Bay. Hang out with us.
Keep going. Keep working. Keep climbing. And always keep playing. With the unmatched orthopedic care at Baptist Health. With a best-in-class team, along with services and procedures you won't find anywhere else in the region, it's no wonder most people choose us to help them keep moving and doing the things that move them. Find a Baptist Health provider today.
Watching it in the morning did force me to slow down and made me aware of things going on in the city that I wasn't aware of.
First-time viewers watch WDRB in the morning.
The weather was very impactful because we were doing things every day, whether we were going to go to the pool or go to the park. The weather was definitely helpful.
What if we told you that every time you eat, get a new pair of shoes, buy the newest game, or really purchase anything, you could be adding to your savings? With Roundup Checking, every debit card purchase is rounded to the nearest dollar, and the rounded amount is automatically put into a savings account with interest. We'll even double your savings for the first 90 days, which means you could be growing your savings even while you're making the game-winning shot. The best checking account puts money back in your wallet. Apply for Roundup Checking today, only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
We will do everything on the field to make sure we win.
Anything less is a disappointment.
3 years since we last lifted a trophy, and that's far too many.
We're working every single day to bring home a championship.
We started off on the right foot, and now we just got to keep going.
Louisville City FC takes on Detroit City FC August 20th at 7:30 on WBKI. Presented by Commonwealth Credit Union. We see you differently.
WDRB and WBKI are the broadcast home for Lou City FC Live. Tonight's game was presented by Commonwealth Credit Union. We see you differently.
What's so great about being a Kroger Boost member? Free delivery. Free delivery on the Kroger products you love. Free delivery on the unexpected stuff you need. And best of all, more rewards, like double fuel points on everything you buy. Experience a new level of membership starting as low as $59 a year with Boost by Kroger Plus. Learn more at Kroger.com.
We are at halftime between Tampa Bay and Lou City. Last week, 8-year-old Drew Esposito, better known as Super Drew, was named the team's honorary captain for a one-game contract. Here's a recap of that.
Only 7 of 21 matches played this season by Louisville City FC have resulted in something other than a victory, and one of those came earlier in the year against the Charleston Battery as the season series shifts to Lynn Family Stadium.
I got a chance to get to know you a little bit when you're here before. Yeah, I haven't known you long, but I've been thinking a lot about you this week. And there's 4 things that I think about when I think about you, buddy. First and foremost, strong. One of the strongest people I know, brave. Yeah, relentless in your fight against this thing, and an inspiration to everybody in this room. Yeah, so what I want tonight for our group is to be strong in your tackles. Yeah, be brave when you're on the ball. Be relentless when you're defending. And be an inspiration just like this young boy is. And we come out of here and we celebrate with Drew in this locker room, 3 points and nothing less. Yeah, gentlemen?
Joshua Encarnacion sends us on our way. Gonzalez takes it himself, stumbling, keeps his feet. Gonzalez headed away by Farreau. Harris stopped again by Farreau. DZ Harmon the other way. They will pay for it. Augie Williams against the run of play makes it 1-0 Charleston. The Cape goes down. Mushagalusa goes to the crossbar. Ownby waits for it. Ownby hits it and deflects in. Put things toward goal. Good things happen. It's 1-1. Ownby. Gonzalez deflects to Mushagalusa. Right place, right time, but it won't count. It's 1-1 between Louisville and Charleston. That was the final score when these teams met way back in early spring. And we've got 45 more. Mushagalusa waits up for it and finishes it. The hesitation, the finish. Walker's gone for the night. Here's Harris, chance to make it 3. He does. Up a man, now up 2 goals. They work this one back to Dia. Dia drives it in, toast wide open. Clinical. That does it from Louisville. 4-1 in favor of the home side. 4 different goal scorers adds up to 3 points. And they are unbeaten in 8 with 7 of those being wins.
Really, really happy for the group, for everybody in here. And we keep going. We don't let up. Massive opportunity next week that I know every single person in this locker room is looking forward to. I certainly am. So let's go make sure everybody understands who the best team in the East is. Yeah? Good, gentlemen? Have a good evening.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals. I'm on that routine. I'm on that routine.
Did you know over 10 million Camrys have been built right here in Kentucky?
That's a lot of Camrys.
Made in America means something to Toyota. That's why they've invested over $8.5 billion in the Bluegrass State.
And that's helped keep over 22,000 jobs here in Kentucky.
Toyota is already building for the future with 12 different electrified vehicles,
including hybrid versions of Camry, Avalon, and the best-selling RAV4.
All 3 built in Kentucky. The more you know, the more you'll drive Toyota.
Let's go places.
The halftime score is brought to you by Serve Pro, the official cleanup and restoration partner of Louisville City FC. It's 0-0 at the break right now. Time to take a look at the news and notes from around the USL Championship as it continues to grow. Ground broken on the new soccer-specific stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Could host a club in 2024. Circle the date on your calendar, September 7th, a Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern in Orlando, Sacramento at 8 o'clock on ESPN+. And Milan Olowski, 6 goals, 2 assists, and he is red hot. Continued that last night with a victory, a 2-1 win. The bonkers matchup between Colorado Springs and El Paso finished at 4-4. Charleston takes down New York Red Bulls, and action from around the league tonight. Memphis being outshot 13-4, but on top. And here's your upcoming schedule. Plenty of good action later on tonight. How about San Antonio and Las Vegas, as well as Monterey Bay and Czech Republic later on this evening. Tomorrow, Los Dos and New Mexico United. Wednesday, a fine matchup as well, Birmingham and Detroit City FC. And plenty of action around the USL Championship. It's halftime between Lou City and Tampa Bay, 0-0. First half highlights, stats, and the second half kickoff is right around the corner. Hang with us.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words. Smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Mortensen Family Dental. Schedule online at mortensondental.com.
Come on, Brian.
Dad, look.
Brian, come on.
I'm Courtney.
I'm Brian.
Ready, Brian? Summer won't last forever, but you can go out and make memories that will during Toyota's National Sales Event.
Save big on the roomy new Toyota Highlander, like this electrified Highlander Hybrid with fuel savings of $3,000. Save even more with 1.9 APR financing.
Come in today.
Toyota, let's go places.
At U of L Health Urgent Care Plus, the plus makes all the difference. You get convenient, world-renowned care that's backed by a network of academic expertise, less wait time, plus more advanced technology, compassionate care plus no appointment necessary. It all adds up to a smart choice for the best care close by. So don't put your health on hold. That's the power of you.
Fifth Third Bank. Yeah, it's a quirky name. But here's the thing, 5/3 equals 166.7%. So we put 166.7% into everything we do. Like automatically getting you your paycheck up to 2 days early, giving you well-deserved extra time to avoid overdraft fees, and helping you borrow from your future self. This is banking a Fifth Third better.
How about this for a little dinner this evening? The Gold Standard Burger. I don't know, a lot of cheese, a lot of barbecue sauce, a couple patties. Oh. You put me in the seats right now, that's exactly what I would have in my hands.
Look at the bread. I mean, to be fair, the only thing that really upsets me is it's the bondage holding it together. I need a candle up there. Like, it's my birthday, right? Oh, you're going to do it. Okay. Let me see. Oh, my goodness. Good for you. Yeah, it is good. Not as good as the first half. No, it's definitely better. It was better than the first half.
No napkin needed for that, and neither side was able to put a shot on target in the opening half. But here was a good opportunity. The pass over to Serrano. He was able to sneak it through that defender, but it went wide.
Saw a couple poor balls from both the back lines played tonight coming off in distribution, and because of it, couple of opportunities, but this was nauseating in terms of what was incapable of being done on the right-hand side. I don't blame everything on Ray Serrano, but that was a good look at what basically they dealt with, where he comes to the inside, you don't have the overlapping run, you try and force the hand, and you don't get the look that you want to. You wanted to see more out of Jake LaCava. You certainly wanted to see more out of Dos Santos and Fernandez. Fernandez, this is the only time in the first half that you will remember any sort of presence up top. And it's 2v1, it's a half ball back across, and nobody gets on the end of it. This is probably the best chance for Lou City because of the run that's late by Jorge Gonzalez. That's the trailing run that I'm talking about, where you want one of your midfielders to pop up out of. He's a tiny touch late to it, but the touch is actually what gives him the opportunity to strike on goal. Deflection across the end line, and they earn themselves, wait for it, another corner, because that's what did happen in the opening 45 minutes.
Well, let's take a look at the first half statistics brought to you by River City Flooring. A lot of possession for Lou City overall in the first half. A combined 7 shots, none on target in the opening 45 minutes. It's the 15th time for each team that they did not concede a first half goal. Only Las Vegas and Birmingham with 16 have more frequently pitched a shutout in the opening 45 minutes. There's a lot of excitement leading into this matchup, and it is a beautiful night here in the Commonwealth State. And Natalie Simon blows the whistle, and we're ready for the second half. Let's see if one of these two sides can get some early attack going. Joined by Devin Curra, Michael Watring, our entire crew watching this one with you. Hope you're having a pleasant night wherever you're watching this one from. Well, this is to be expected from what Louisville City likes to do. The fewest goals conceded, tied for the most clean sheets as well in the championship. Since the beginning of June, they've only given up 6. You know it's going to be stingy to break them down. Tampa Bay, even though they have conceded 12 times during this 13-match unbeaten string, a very good defensive-minded group. 23 conceded for the year.
Once again, for the top 5 in terms of most clean sheets in the USL Championship reside in the Eastern Conference. You just said tied. Lou City, Miami FC both have 11. Birmingham Legion 10, Pittsburgh Riverhounds 9, and the 5th is actually tied for first. San Antonio, they're at 11 as well. That was an interesting little dust up on the inside. Watch out though, the way that he came down on this. Need a knee on the actual contact. Yep. Okay. All right. That's where it was. When I saw him go to ground, I didn't see the actual contact on the follow through by Lewis Hilton. It's because he actually fell. A little mix up just bent him the wrong way. He's had some issues in the past. Hope that that doesn't funnel in anything in the present.
Jorge Gonzalez, the 23-year-old from Spain. Well, he is up, which is a good sign. Certainly want to see him walk a little bit on his own power.
He's already got KT tape on that left leg in general. He's moving all right though.
He's going to stay out there for the time being, and he's going to get the ball as well. Now Ownby thinking, Ownby chipping, and it's just over the top of the bar.
He surprised everybody on this, Brian Ownby, because myself included, everyone in the stadium and on the Rowdies back line expects him to play this ball back across to the right. Even CJ Cochran, he does not expect the left foot and the chip to the back post to happen. Brian Ownby miles ahead of the scouting report there.
Ownby having a career year, scored in 3 of the last 5 appearances for him, 8 goals. These two teams have not been void of injuries and various other scenarios, such as Lawrence White's suspension this evening, that have kept some of their better players out of the lineup. Been people that have stepped up in their stead. Ownby one of those for Lou City. Jorge Gonzalez was open in the middle of the field. Instead, the pass will elude Mushagalusa. Be a goal kick. Ownby goes down, and there will be a foul whistle. And there will be a yellow card as well. That gets distributed to the 29-year-old from Mexico, Aaron Guillen.
This is one of the things that, as a defender, you hate so much. Because you get the ball, but it's the nature in which you do it. Watch the left foot of him. The left foot combines with Brian Ownby as he drops down into the pocket first. It's the follow-through of the right that actually gets the ball. In real time, Michael, it's really hard to tell because it's moving at such a rapid pace. You can't feel the contact on either occur. It feels simultaneous, and so you feel like you've gotten the best of the situation when in fact you are in the wrong.
Well, Serrano's the one over the top of the ball right now. They'll play it quick. This one will go out. Let's take a look at tonight's nugget of the match presented by Chick-fil-A. Lou City's back-to-back all-league first-team defender. Sean Tosh led the USL Championship in passes last season. Nearly 2,300 of them. 30 years of age. To Northern Illinois. And tonight he has surpassed the 15,000 career regular season minutes mark. Needed 19 of them. Entering tonight.
There's a bunch of boys on that list in terms of amount of passes put forth this season. On that back line, a bunch of defenders: Matt Mahoney, Elijah Martin, Tarek Morad, Kyle Adams, and San Diego. Yuma and Andrew Fox. Aaron Guillen is at number 2, just trailing Liam Doyle. It's an interesting statistic, the number of passes you've had.
I just envision whoever has to keep track of that. Challenging job.
What do you think I do when I'm not on mic with you?
Bone making the run. It's Ownby circling. They play it wide. It's mishit. Dio will wait. Gonzalez. He goes down too easily for Natalie Simon's taste.
They're just so deep, though. Look, he has no support. They're having to do so much work in such a compressed area when they work back to the left side of your screen because of the way that their shape sits. You've pulled Dayon Harris and Sebastian Dalgard so restricted in their movements, and keeping the play in front of them, doing a fantastic job doing so, not allowing any quality of chances to be taken by Lou City. It is one of those ones that it just kind of feels like, okay, at least at this point in time, 53 minutes in, it's a road game, let's go escape. But it is also a cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? You're gonna make it look good in one area, but you're gonna remove yourself in another. Still no combining with Dos Santos, La Cava, and Fernandez.
This is a really good run by Perez. Serrano. Now Gonzalez once more. Ownby was circling around. Instead, it's intercepted. Harris. Mushagalusa. Ownby was in a pocket, or so he thought. Now he ends up getting it. And it's Leo Fernandez that defends, and Ownby frustrated. Well, here's a misplay. LaCava. Jake LaCava. LaCava touches it. Slightly wide. Dos Santos did not make the run. And Tampa nearly had the first say. Ownby will latch on here. Mushagalusa. Mushagalusa high.
You go all the way back to the first chance that never was for Lou City. Simple decision making once again. Play the ball, play it. Instead, you're way too late to the party. The space gets closed down. Great job by Leo Fernandez. Watch how quick they move from end to end. This is the stuff, even on the mistake. Most important thing is the high run of LaCava because he's there. That was something Neil Collins addressed with him in the first half. What's the tail end of this, though? Are you trying to pick out Dos Santos, or are you trying to get cute to the far post? Lou City then break the other direction. We've seen this a ton of times this year where Mushagalusa gets out in front, he starts running downhill, and he can't hold his form when he gets an opportunity to get a strike on goal and just lets it sail wide.
Racing Louisville is looking to fill the FAM on August 27th against the Chicago Red Stars, one of the top teams in the NWSL. Fill the FAM will have fireworks, giveaways, and more. Make sure you don't miss out. Tickets are going fast, so get yours now at racingloufc.com/tickets.
What's up, Trumpet Man? Although I'd rather have the bagpipes in the background.
I'll take the trumpet. Former band.
Have we had this discussion? Are you musically inclined?
I am not. I did piano lessons way back in the day, and I don't think that I can play hot cross buns now.
Okay.
What about you?
I love hot cross buns. A couple of times a month, hit the bakery, absolutely. I am neither musically inclined nor artistic in any way, shape, and form. My better half, at least in that argument, takes the cake on that for sure. I do play mean recorder, but I don't really know if that's a claim to fame because I probably peaked at the age of 6. So.
Mushagalusa sails this one across the field out for a goal kick.
I did want to learn the piano, though. Big piano fan.
We had a piano in our house basically my whole life, and I never took the time to play any of it. I tried a couple years ago when I was looking on YouTube and failed miserably.
Yeah, it's a bucket list for me. You know, you see the videos, speaking of YouTube, on social media. I want to be the person that just walks into a hotel lobby, grabs my brown water. Lou City fans are going to know about that, the bourbon. Just set it on top of the piano and start playing, have myself a moment, stand up, walk away, and go, that's right. That's right.
I think that's such a power move. If you can walk into a hotel and just sit down at the piano and start playing. Shots sit at 7-4 in favor of Lou City. Still have not registered a shot on target for either side. Two of the better scoring teams in the league. That's a very good run there by Harris. As has been the case tonight, having to take on several defenders. And eventually it leads to a giveaway. Ownby. Dia flies it in. Back post runs Serrano. Corbin Bone back with it. Now Gonzalez. Jorge Gonzalez! Boy, he nearly found the upper 90.
This is going to start with the Brian Ownby cut back to the inside. Great job to allow this run to develop because he could have played it initially. Instead, he knows that Amadou Dia's got to come higher. So when he cuts back to the inside, Gonzalez doesn't make that late run we're talking about. Instead, he sees the ball into the corner, grabs a chilling run to the back post. How does Serrano not get a touch? And instead, Gonzalez on the second bite of the apple from about 25 yards out. That's almost the goal of the century for Lou City.
Substitutions coming here for Lou City. Substitutions tonight are brought to you by MHS Global, Above and Beyond. It will be Napo Masoso and Wilson Harris coming on. Musha Galusa and Corbin Bone are coming out. Tampa Bay makes a couple changes as well. Kyle Grieg replaces Steven Dos Santos. And Jan Ekra replaces Harris.
No, that just wasn't the overall night for Steven Dos Santos. Let's give himself some credit, though, because he clogged all the passing lanes coming right up through the middle. Unfortunately, he wasn't playing two ways. And even when the opportunities were there, he wasn't checking into the right spots. Just had a rough go of it. It's going to be really telling for Lou City what they're deciding to do on their front line. I want to see if they actually pull him over or not. No, they're going to leave him. Okay, Brian Ownby on the left, Ray Serrano stays on the right. Notice how much higher as this game goes on. Jorge Gonzalez, if you watch him, I talk about his ability to be a game changer, popping out. We saw that strike moments ago. He continues to push higher and higher into this press for Lou City. Coming off the left shoulder, he was doing it with Brian Ownby, and as you look right now, he is almost directly to the left. There's a good look of that front line next to Wilson Harris.
'62nd minute, 0-0 between Tampa Bay and Louisville City FC. 11th all-time, meaning Tampa has won each of the last 3 since the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. They just announced the official attendance tonight. It is 14,673. And there's a goal right on cue. Wilson Harris sends this place into a frenzy. Lou City leads 1-0.
This is some kind of mistake. Shades of the 2021 final playing off the back line. Where are you throwing this ball? And more importantly, what are you thinking, Connor Antley? You hate to call a spade a spade. You put him in a bad spot, it's an even worse decision. The substitute, Wilson Harris, just come on, doesn't sense the pressure. But Harris knows exactly what needs to be done. His 10th of the year, and Lou City out in front.
That goal presented by Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education. Kentucky Lottery. And Wilson Harris, 2020 USL Championship Young Player of the Year. In front of 14,673 fans. It's the largest regular season attendance for Lou City. You have to go back to August 12th, 2017, what proved to be a 5-0 win over FC Cincinnati, when it was 13,812. Largest ever attendance for a Lou City match. Prior to tonight was the 2017 final, and they've surpassed that number by about 200 fans.
Oh, look at you with the math.
That's why you always estimate. You just say round numbers.
Well, I'm not doing it, you know. Yeah, it's here or thereabouts.
Things had been building for Lou City. This season, 6 wins without a loss or a draw when scoring first. At home, 12 wins and a loss overall. Harris, the team leader in goals. That's the 8th goal by a substitute as well. Only San Diego and Penn have more by subs. There's a foul whistled. Lou City entered tonight a point clear of the Eastern Conference lead over Tampa Bay.
I just want to go back to this one more time. You know, you can think if you're a Rowdies fan, well, it's okay to throw it. No, it's not. I would never have thrown this ball. Number one, look at all the Lou City players in advanced positions. You put him in a bad spot, but number two, what is Connor Antley doing? For a guy that has stepped in almost seamlessly onto the back line for Lou City for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. He's been so good, such high praise from Neil Collins and the organization. Lasso departs late in preseason. Castellanos goes down 15 minutes into the game against Birmingham Legion. That's a glaring mistake that could cost him.
Dia played back through, a body taken down. Masoso thinking he got fouled in the box. Own B. Own B. Own B! Nearly picked out the low side. It has been full throttle here for Louisville City in the second half. Now some space opens up. LaCava gets the first shot blocked. Second attempt wide.
Oh, Manny Perez. What'd you have for dinner, my friend? This is going to leave a mark. Deep breaths, Jake LaCava. It's sickening just to have to challenge him in a one-on-one situation in general, yet alone where this ends up. No post-game meal for you. Walk it off. Walk it off. We'll get through it together. We'll get there. Come on. Come on. Baby steps. We've all been there.
Joella's Hot Chicken is serving up the right amount of spice with their Lou City Slider Pack. $5 from every pack sold will be donated towards the Lou City and Racing Louisville Youth Academy with 7 heat levels to choose from. Joella's Hot Chicken isn't just about the heat, it's about flavor. Wilson Harris's goal in the 63rd minute.
With both teams adjusting shape-wise, you bring Napo Masoso in, they've almost operated primarily with the double pivot on the inside, and Neil Collins counteracted it. He brings Jan Ekra in. Leo Fernandez goes to the far side, and Kyle Gregg still doing a good job, as Dos Santos did, of working to the middle. Jan Ekra coming deeper and deeper, trying to find a way to match up against Napo Masoso. Jorge Gonzalez is still taking a ton of chances. They're allowing him to as well. It's a mistake. It's not now 10 on the attacking midfielder, as he is sort of pitching himself to this left-hand side as he normally does. But he is progressing further and further down the pitch to give Lou City other options moving forward. Neil Collins was going to be frustrated at the lack of chances created prior to the mistake. Is there any sort of magic available to the visitors? Remember the unbeaten streak that is 13 games, 10-0-3, 7 straight wins. That's pretty telling, though. Have not been able to hit the target tonight. Gives you an idea that as good as they have been, 21 of 23 games this season they have scored in. They hadn't even hit the 8x8 tonight.
Tampa Bay hasn't drawn a match in 57 days. Haven't lost since April 30th. Still 20 minutes to go here. Gonzalez looking for Serrano. Now it is Ownby. Dia.
That's a ball right there.
Gonzalez thought about it. Serrano. Foul whistled and the fans not happy. Three changes coming for Tampa Bay. It'll be Junior Etu coming on, joined by Robert Castellanos and Lucky Mkosana, replacing Nicky Law, some Ashton Dahlgaard. And Jake LaCava.
This is an interesting one for Neil Collins. With Castellanos coming in, you would imagine that he's going to pinch Connor Antley out to the left. At least that would be the initial move. The question is, what are you going to do on the front line and within the midfield? Are you going to bring Jan Ekra out to the right, switch Dahlgaard over, leave Fernandez? This is where the masterclass tactician that is Neil Collins, we saw in the Eastern Conference final last time around. One change affecting 6 different positions. Dayon Harris was the sub. The contributors need not be known because the fate was already sealed once that man put pen to paper and instituted the sub card. He's the best at figuring out with one simple move how he can infect the entire outcome of a game. It looks to be a two-headed monster with Cam Kasana up top next to Kyle Gregg. Can you get Connor Antley? If you move him out and you leave Aaron Guillen, you wonder if they then push him into a more advanced role. That's my favorite position for him, is on the right flank up high. Again, that's the wealth of options that you've acquired over the last 12 months. Really less than that. Neil Collins in the scouting department, great job in the offseason.
Sixth longest winning streak, USL Championship history on the line. About 15 more minutes to go. It has been a quiet night for Leo Fernandez. 11 goals in his last 12 contests. And I'm not sure we've called his name in the second half.
I don't know, it's more disappointing. Leo Fernandez, Jake LaCava, or the lack of combination between the two. And that's not, I want to be clear, I'm not talking about their overall performance. It's the desire to see them, right? The spirited nature that can be and has been over the course of this season. Just another bad ball coming off the back line.
Gibson. Gonzalez is called for a foul.
In real time, this looked to be the right decision, though. He's just from behind. He tries to get away with a shoulder charge. Feels like he gets the best of it, but watch where it is. Yep, see? Good job by Aaron Guillen. He gets the jump on Jorge Gonzalez. Not only does he have the initial step in front of him, but he's positioned his body so that he knows if the pressure does come, it's only going to be on that left-hand shoulder. The odds that he's going to step in front of him are very slim. Textbook defending from Aaron Guillen.
Fans, head to Twitter to vote on tonight's Lynn Family Sports Vision and Training Man of the Match. Poll will be open for the next 10 minutes. Vote now at twitter.com/Lou City. Is injured. All told tonight, Tampa Bay has 6 shots. 4 came from Jake LaCava, and Leo Fernandez has none.
About the way that the stats are going for Lou City tonight. You mentioned the record. 12 wins, 1 loss, scoring the opening goal this season. They're unbeaten at home, 6 wins when they score first. But I just mentioned how great Neil Collins and an entire technical staff are at making the changes throughout a game to find a way to have the impact. Lucky M. Kasana is one of those guys. Eastern Conference final hero last year. M. Kasana Lasso elevating, all that jazz. Great shout by Drew Felios and Ryan Davis, boys from the Rowdies, announcing that match. Most goals coming off the bench in USL Championship history from Lucky M. Kasana. I hope said inside 15 minutes ago it can be, but it's actually Louisville City. 8 goals this season from substitutes, and the changes made by Danny Cruz. Only San Diego Loyal have scored more. Normally this team is really, really good about getting those goals early, but the evolution that has been for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, not to be undone by Louisville City, at least so far tonight. Wilson Harris, the man who made his mark.
As it stands at this point, entering this evening, Lou City 2.23 points per match. Just out of the top 5 all-time in championship history. Of course, San Antonio's at 2.30. all-time record in 2012 by Orlando at 2.38. So that just goes to show that even with what Blue City has produced, San Antonio still the team to catch at this point in the season in terms of the overall standings in the league. There's a foul whistled as Harris taken down. We were scoreless at the break, had 7 total shots, none on target. And still Tampa Bay with 0 shots on frame. Louisville City has dominated the possession, 66%. And just 2 of their 11 shot attempts have been on frame, but the one that matters came in the 63rd minute off of a poor throw and a bad giveaway. Wilson Harris, fresh off of the bench, pocketing his team leading 10th goal of the year. Joined by Devin Kerr, Michael Watrang, and our entire crew, seeing out the final 10+ minutes of this matchup. That was billed as the top 2 teams in the league, and 2 teams that since 2017, the inception of Tampa Bay, have won every Eastern Conference final. Last time it didn't happen, 2016, that's when New York Red Bulls went on to win the championship. It's the most playoff wins, most overall points amongst Eastern Conference teams in that stretch are on this field. Collins unhappy with his center backs and his overall team, knowing that there's about 10 minutes left and they need to make a push. Scarlett foul. Well, Natalie Simon is the referee tonight. She is one of the 4 American women to earn status with FIFA, and she has done a pretty good job here this evening of controlling this matchup that you knew at times would certainly have some hot heads between both sides.
That's being politely put. I mean, those are my boys, Danny Cruz and Neil Collins, but I would not want to be anyone on the officiating crew sitting between the 2 of them.
Here's Danny Cruz, 2nd season.
And let's be clear, they're really nice individuals. As coaches, brilliant. Let's just say the conversations that you have in an adult cocktail, a nice aged water, fermented lemon possibly, or even sitting down breaking bread with them at the dinner table, are a little bit different in the technical area. That's the way you put it. Still, if I had the opportunity to be playing in this era, surely wouldn't mind the chance to go to battle for one of those guys. Points per game to the best in the business. The model overall, you just talked about within the season. How about historically as managers? Top 5 all time. You know, Rick Shantz and Danny Cruz, Neil Collins, all right there, right at the top.
When we spoke to Danny Cruz this week, we asked him about the first meeting that ended 1-0 in favor of Tampa Bay. He said he thought that they were a little bit too direct last time, fell into their trap more frequently than they should have, and tonight it's been a dominating possession game. Still just a 1-goal differential. Hernandez called for the foul, and he's the type of player that can make an impact in the blink of an eye. Louisville's upcoming schedule, how about 3 consecutive road contests? The challenge that slate will be with a midweek matchup at Indy 11 to wrap that up. Then Sacramento comes here. You go to FC Tulsa. Doesn't get any easier for Danny Cruz's team.
Think about that matchup versus Sacramento Republic as well is going to be a real interesting one because of the push that Republic are going to be looking for. That is the last game before Sacramento Republic take off for the US Open Cup final. Midweek, September 7th, had a long conversation with Mark Briggs and an exchange back and forth recently discussing the run into it, how they were really looking to make a push for their overall form. They've had some results go their way for sure. Unbeaten in their last 4, 2 wins, 2 draws. Doing battle tonight against Monterey Bay on the road, but playing at Lou City. Good news is they're already be on the East Coast. Bad news is you're playing the #1 seed, at least at this point in time, in the Eastern Conference. They will be pushing for a spot in the West. All the rest of that for Lou City on the road. Dear Lord, not easily navigated. And a bunch of teams that are fighting for their playoff lives.
As it stands right now, 4 points clear of Tampa Bay if they can hold on to this in the final 5 minutes or so. Memphis has taken down Pittsburgh 2-0 tonight, so they have pulled level with Tampa Bay for second in the Eastern Conference standings. Yen pushes forward. This is a good header. Tampa needs to find a way to get more aggressive in the attack. Just 6 shots overall tonight. None on target.
Everything overall is just, it's bland, right? It's the same thing over and over and over again for the Rowdies right now. Even with the changes that Neil Collins has made, he's turned the midfield into this nice little triangle. Lewis Hilton comes down underneath into the out-and-out 6, trying to find a way to get long balls, pushing up forth. This one comes off the right foot of Jordan Scarlett. It's a pretty decent ball played into Connor Antley. He wants to take it off his chest. It's just a bit too far, able to get his head back across. It is a mistake by Amadou Dia, though. There's no reason that you got to step in there. This is where they can really hurt you. And just keep an eye, Castellanos, the center back who's come on. The loanee from Nashville. 6'3", and the ability to change lives in the top of the 18.
Lewis Hilton strikes it. It's won by Lou City, not cleared yet. Ekra took a shot. Hilton back in. Morton coming out. Two-handed fist away. And the flag is up for offside as well.
Coming into this year, still maintain this comment that Kyle Morton was the biggest off-season pickup for any team, bar none. That's why right there. His stats, the commanding presence he brings. 17 appearances this year. Over 50% of the time. 9 shutouts to his name, only 9 goals given up. And the sweetest and smallest set of shin guards you'll ever see.
A goals allowed average of .53. Harris does the work defensively, now Ownby. Does Lou City think about adding a second? Dia. Wilson Harris is making a really good run, but the pass wasn't there.
And just like it has the rest of the night, it comes late, right? How many times have we heard that for both these teams?
It hasn't been often Tampa has struggled to put shots on 18 times this year with at least 10 shot attempts. 2 of the 3 losses came when they had just 6. Tonight they have 7 and trail 1-0 as we enter the 90th minute. Baptist Health Louisville provides nationally recognized orthopedic care locally. Learn more about their high-performing hospital ranking in knee replacement from U.S. News and World Report at baptisthealth.com/ortho. Morton plays it out. Harris making this run. Can't latch onto it. Stoppage time is presented by the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Refs have added 4 minutes of stoppage time. And we will get a change as well. Oscar Jimenez replaces Brian Ownby in the lineup, brought to you by MHS Global, above and beyond.
The best shout that I've heard tonight actually came from our producer, and I agreed with him. How in the 85th minute Brian Ownby still had the legs to be making these runs down into the corner, holding up play, I will never know. Every single game we see it. The test of time seems to never take its toll on Brian Ownby.
Tonight's Lynn Family Sports Vision and Training Man of the Match is Wilson Harris, the 22-year-old from Los Angeles. He bagged the goal in the 63rd minute against a Tampa Bay side that had trailed for 38 total minutes during a 7-match winning streak, is now trailed for 28 minutes in this matchup. CJ Cochran comes all the way out. Natalie Simon wants the ball pushed back. This ball lifted to the box. Now 2 more minutes to go on that minimum 4 minutes of stoppage time. Lou City hasn't beaten Tampa Bay since the 2019 Eastern Conference quarterfinals. 9 of the first 10 meetings between these sides have been decided by 1 goal or been a draw. We'll get a change here for Lou City. Paulo Del Piccolo replaces Jorge Gonzalez. Two teams that entered with the best goal differentials in the USL Championship. One of 4 with a goal differential of at least 20 or more. Two teams that entered at the top of the Eastern Conference table. And we're winding down on this built-up matchup in front of a record-breaking crowd of nearly 15,000. It is still loose in the box. Fernandez's first shot of the match goes wide. He's been too quiet tonight for the Rowdies.
94 out of 94. That's not the look for Neil Collins. It's nice to see that the character, although being tested, certainly unwavering for Leo Fernandez, even when it's not your night. You get that one little step. Watch him spin off this, how quick it is. Drops that shoulder. Excellent job by Wes Sharpie just to get right in front of him, cloud that judgment as much as humanly possible. Danny Cruz just imploring in the background here. Tight guys, seconds left. Tight as possible, please.
Everybody here at Louisville thinking the clock should expire. Not done quite yet. Fernandez. It's a brilliant slide tackle by Manny Perez. Well, we've gone a minute over the minimum 4 minutes. Manny Perez, 23 years of age, with a beauty. And there's your full-time whistle. In front of nearly 15,000 fans, Lou City snaps the 7-game Tampa Bay winning streak and extends its own unbeaten streak to 9 in a row. And now 4 points clear in the Eastern Conference table. Devin, how do you sum up the performance of Louisville City FC tonight?
Well, you talk about the fact that they've gone 4 points clear. Lest we forget that not only that, it's the ability for everybody chasing. They've got a game in hand on the Rowdies. They are level with 901 FC. Yes, they snapped the 7-game win streak. Yes, they snapped the 13 games unbeaten for the Rowdies. But the point of emphasis here for Lou City, Danny Cruz, and anybody blacked out tonight in this stadium was about slaying the beast that had been the Tampa Bay Rowdies. 3 games running, they had their number. They were embarrassed by it. They said, we gotta find a way to beat these guys. I'm not gonna see a ton of changes from him. We have to go out and flat out be better. They did that and came out on top.
It was a clean sheet brought to you by Mortensen Family Dental. A clean game calls for a healthy, clean smile. League leading 12th of the year for Louisville City and the 30th of his career for Kyle Morton. Now it's time to take a look at tonight's Toyota move of the game. Let's go places. And how about this? A giveaway off of a throw-in all the way back, and then Antley gives it away. Great hustle by Harris. And a nice finish as well.
I still go back to the fact that you don't need to throw this ball there in the first place, and you'll have plenty of coaches that are going to argue against me. That's fine. It's subjective, but don't put him in this spot. It's still extremely poor from Connor Antley. It cost them the game, but if you don't put your center back in that spot, you're not asking your goalkeeper, Jordan Scarlett, or anybody else to try and recover. Instead, too many bodies high. Wilson Harris steps in, 10th on the year for him. First tonight for Lou City, and they reign supreme atop the Eastern Conference again.
For the first time in 106 days, Tampa Bay falls. Lou City wins it 1-0. Highlights and our recap coming up in a moment.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words, smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Mortensen Family Dental. Schedule online at mortensendental.com.
During Toyota's national sales event, we're working hard to deliver new Toyotas so you can enjoy the last of summer. From hitting the rapids with a RAV4 hybrid, to kicking up sand in a Tundra, or camping out in a Highlander. Hey guys!
And nobody has more all-wheel drive vehicles like the legendary Toyota 4Runner. Get a rugged new 22 Tacoma with 1.9 APR financing, plus you get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Come in today.
Toyota, let's go places.
Imagine your bright career when you join the U of L Health team. Now, imagine receiving free tuition to the University of Louisville. At U of L Health, we believe in investing in you and the power of education. So now, your U of L Health family has college tuition covered for all employees and their families. Just imagine the possibilities. That's the power of you.
This postgame is presented to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety. Fireworks on Phil the Fam night in front of nearly 15,000 fans. Lou City beats Tampa for the first time since the 2019 Eastern Conference quarterfinals and is now unbeaten in the last 9. Time for your full-time highlights. Back with Devin. Michael, as we take a look at this game summary presented by Liquor Barn, and there were some opportunities for both sides, but nothing all that great. But Jake LaCava made this great run. Had Dos Santos back post. Dos Santos didn't complete the run, and a shot off target.
Remember how close this series was coming in. 4-4-2, 4 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws, and even stalemate. And it all comes down to either a glorious moment on one end or a massive mistake on the other. You get the latter. It's an interesting decision on the late throw. Wilson Harris is right there. Connor Antley doesn't see him, but Wilson Harris has his sights set for glory. He picks out the bottom corner, gets his 10th on the season, and for the former Young Player of the Year in 2020 COVID year that was Sporting Kansas City 2, he's doing just fine in the 9th spot for Lou City, and they're out 1-0.
Well, last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, Tampa Bay had a frenetic finish in regulation to tie it up. Fernandez tried to duplicate it, but went wide on his only shot of the game for the team's leading scorer.
Jan Ekra with the flick to Kyle Gregg. Leo Fernandez peels off and thought maybe, just maybe, he would have his night in lights, and that's not the case overall. And dear Lord, the Tampa Bay Rowdies, though they padded the stats a little bit on the back end of this team likes to be on the ball. They were not. They like to produce in the final third. They did not. The runs aplenty, couldn't make a decision. I've never seen an ineffective team as poor as I have tonight for the Tampa Bay Rowdies and their inability to move and create chances on the other side of things. For Lou City, what were they capable of tonight? Pretty much everything. I would say that they were not clinical enough in this game, and that in postseason play it could come back to haunt you. But in this night, this moment tonight, they did enough to earn themselves 3 points and move themselves a bit closer to one of their goals, and that's the Eastern Conference title.
Tonight's final score is brought to you by Gorski Law Office. Was tonight just the prelude for another postseason clash between Lou City and Tampa Bay? Find out over the coming months. But tonight, it is Louisville City winning it 1-0 for our entire crew, saying so long from Louisville. The final tally, Lou City 1, Tampa 0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.